So tonight I'm brewing Simply Mild Ale. From Richie's, it's £10 for the kit. You get the yeast underneath, so it comes in a malt. It comes in a, what do you call them, a bloody pouch. And basically, you're going to get this, you're going to add hot water, and we're going to go from there. So, not done the mild ale before, I've done the ginger beer. Good evening, matey. I've done the ginger beer many, many times. So this is the mild. Let me put some lights on, I just can't see what I'm doing. That's better, see now? So yeah, Simply Mild. Fermentation bucket's already been washed, sterilised. It's all good, all nice and clean inside. And it was a bit manky, to be fair. Here's the lid, and if you get what this from Wilko's, it don't come with a hole in the top. It's supposed to be a fermentation bucket. It's got these stupid, if you look, it's got these stupid things here that stick out, and I have no idea what they're for. The only thing is they collect crap in them, so I had a right job cleaning them out. So annoying. So with this kit, I'm going to have 3 extra bags of sugar to ramp up the ABV. It makes round about a 4.5% mild. Me, I'm wanting it to be at least 6%. Good evening. And there you go. If you've never done a homebrew before, it looks like thick glue. It don't taste nice either. It smells awful. So I'm going to pour this in. Yeah, doesn't that look appetising? Eh? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now the thing is, you've got to add hot water to that to get the rest of it out. And obviously this is a pouch, so it's not easy. I'm just going to use normal granulated sugar. You can use brewing sugar, but for me, all I want is cheap and cheerful. I want a cheap mild that's going to be a good 6 or 7% probably. And then what I'm doing at the end, I'm actually adding, once it's fermented, I'm not going to add sugar at the secondary ferment. I'm actually going to add pumpkin spice syrup, so it's going to be a pumpkin spiced mild. Well, that's the hope. So it's going down quite nicely. Let me squeeze the rest out because it's awful stuff. Awful stuff. There's no easy way of doing this, no clean way of doing this with these pouches. So somehow I've got to open this up. This is the tricky part. These pouches don't make it easy because somehow I've got to get hot water in there to wash it out. Oh, bastard. There we go. We'll do it this way then. So we're going to get a bigger jug, put it into the jug, and then pour the hot water in. And it's as sticky as hell. It is an absolute messy, bloody palaver. And unfortunately, I can't see the comments and I can't do anything about it because there we go. So I've just boiled the kettle already. Oh man, I'm getting mess everywhere. So that's better. That's got rid of some of it. It started to clean it out. It's with these pouches, I've never found an easy way of doing it. I know you can put them in hot water beforehand, but no, place them in a bowl with hot water, and that I know you can do it that way, and that loosens the mould up. Right, we're going there. It's not as gloopy now. So yeah, all good. Put the kettle in front of a boil. Usually about 2.5 kettlefuls of hot water. Bearing in mind you've got to dissolve the blooming sugar as well, so you need all that hot water at the start. And still it's quite thick and gloopy. Oh dear, what a bloody mess. So, because I'm going to add hot water to it anyway, 3 bags of sugar. I've got an hydrometer, so this will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what the ABV turns out like, and if the yeast, and it normally can put up with all that sugar. So there's one. So get the old stirrer. Apparently I'm good at stirring, so Mum says. At the moment it is as thick and gloopy as you can imagine. It needs a lot more water. But by stirring it and keep stirring it, it shouldn't start to loosen the malt. And it is actually doing quite a nice job of loosening it already, to be fair. Much easier if I had I'm going to 23 litres. So 23 litres, I think it makes 24 litres. I'm going to 23. 3 extra bags of sugar, plus I'm going to add the pumpkin spice at the end. So hopefully around about 5 to 6% mild, with a nice pumpkin spice flavour. Fingers crossed. The only down is I've got to have the chuffing kettle on to boil the water. So that's deglooping nicely. Ugh. Pour some hot water in there. So this is some of the issues that you'll have. For people watching this in the future, the thick syrupy stuff in there, malt, is a swine. You need to get a big jug like I've done, pour hot water and splosh it about, get that malt worked up and then pour it in. Good evening. I've got the St. Peter's as well, and good evening everyone. I'll just apologise for the noise in the background. It's never an easy task doing a homebrew video, because if you've got to put a kettle on, it's going to make noise. This is supposed to be a fast boil as well. It's not very fast at the moment. Yeah, so Simply Mild kit. I've also got a St. Peter's kit that I'm doing in a few days' time. I've only got the ability to do 3 kits at any one time, and I'm still waiting for the Vimto to sort itself out. But that's a good thing, I suppose. It gives me a chance to see how hard we go. The Vimto kit, the Vimto wine, in the shed it's warmer, so it's warming up, and it's starting to ferment a bit better. The hydrometer went down a bit from yesterday, so that's a good sign. It's all good fun with hydrometers and all this stuff. Right, that's done, I think, yeah. Pour it into here. Like I say, these malts, was it done? Keep going. So in there, the malt at the bottom is really bloody solid, and it smells awful as well. Yeah, you have to be careful. I brewed some cherry beer and I ramped up the sugar. Mangrove Jacks. I don't think I've had a Mangrove Jacks cider. I have had the, I've done the Bulldog Brew cider and another one on the rocks, I think it was. Yeah. So now, with the hot water, that's made that. I mean, it's cleaned the spoon as well. Put the spoon there. Messy job, as we know. And as you can see, it's clearing it nicely now. So a bit more in, and then I can get on to the nice part, the easy part. The easier part, should we say. What I will say is with Homebrew is having the right gear, scissors, a big jug to put this chuffing thing in, a spoon to stir. Because obviously every last little inch of that malt that's in there is all part of the beer kit, so you want every last little bit, apart from the bit that I spit on my hands and on the floor. So there we go. Just about there now, thank God. Right. Wife's just cleaned the kitchen, so yeah, I'm in for a shitstorm. Hold on, these things happen. Just pour down the outside of the as well. And the thing with these kits is the yeast comes on the bottom. Good evening. Bit of Bodget and Scarpa Homebrewing. So always about 2.5 litres. For me, I use 2.5 kettlefuls of hot water. And then the rest is cold water. Right, so now it's a case of stirring that malt that's in there and the sugar until there's no, every last little bit of sugar's got to be disappeared. You can't feel no, the glutiness of the malt, the kit basically. You can't feel any of that. I mean, it says here, use dextrose brewing sugar, but well, you use what you use. You can follow the instructions down to a T, or you can just use normal sugar. If you're on a budget, use normal sugar. Like that. I mean, it does say on. The instructions are on the back, so it is worth reading the instructions. I'm not reading it, but. Beautiful, absolutely no resistance, no feeling of sugar. So basically now, yes, normally you would. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get up to 23 litres. There we go. That's better. I'm going to get up to 23 litres. Put the yeast on. That's going to brew for a week or two, depending on the weather. There's all factors. After the first fermentation, I'm going to siphon it off into a barrel, and then what I would normally do is either add sugar to each bottle, or you can get drops as well to make it easier, or you add so many sugars to the barrel. So sometimes it's easy just to chuck it in the barrel. However many bottles you've got, usually it's about 1 spoon of sugar per litre, usually. But this time I'm actually not doing that. I'm actually doing this, and at the end, when I siphon it into another container, a barrel, I'm adding the pumpkin spice syrup. So the syrup is basically the sugar. That will aid in the secondary fermentation. So, get the noisy elements out of the way. And it's just a case of filling this up and then banging the yeast on. And that's it for a week. £10 for the kit, £2 for the sugar, and the syrup. I mean, this is where you can play around with kids. You can use, what I'm using is pumpkin spice syrup, but you can use vanilla. You can use chocolate syrup. These syrups are brilliant for adding, adding a bit more flavour to it. Right, now it's time to just fill it up. 23 litres. Always a boring process watching home brewing. The best part's the last part, the drinking part. First of 3 kits I'm doing St. Peter's Cream Stout. I'm doing Love Brewing's barley wine, but with the barley wine, I'm actually doing a ginger root brew to go with it. So I'm making a ginger barley wine at about 9%. And I may add brewing sugar. Yeah, bottling's a swine. It's washing out all the bottles, it does nothing. What was that comment? Oh. Do you know, I would always say leave it a bit longer. If you've got an hydrometer, chuck the hydrometer in. If it shows up you can ready for bottling, then you know for sure. If you've not got a hydrometer, then I would say give it another few days. Yeah. Sometimes patience is a virtue. Because if it's fermented the hell out of that sugar, job's a good one. So just about 20 litres. I'm going up to about 22 or 23. What you've got to be careful of with any of these kits is leaving enough space at the top. So I might go to 22 and leave it at that. That'll do. So give it one last stir. It's made quite a nice briny looking beer. So get the yeast. Yeast is on the bottom. I'm not saving this container. You see, with me, I hand wash everything I do. Yeah. Hand wash all my bottles, and they're all plastic bottles, supermarket bottles, pot bottles basically. Because pot bottles can handle pressure. So say you overdo it on the secondary fermentation. You use glass bottles, they can break. Yes. I've only had one actual brew that I could not drink. I had to chuck it. In 15 years of brewing, one. It stunk. I think there must have been a bit of contamination or something. I mean, cleanliness is godliness, as you know. So we get the yeast. Some yeast, they tell you to soak it in water and all this. But let's be fair, chucking it in. My lager did. It stunk awful. So yeah, brewing a mild. So I'll take it off there. Hello. So there it is. There's the kit. Master Chef. I doubt it. I'm just a bodge dropper. From Richie's, £10 for this kit. Mild. These kits, like the Wilco's kits, are great to play around with. You know, if you're new to homebrew or you just want to try and you ain't got the ability to pay out loads of money, it's an interesting kit. And like I say, using syrups on the secondary fermentation to change the flavour or give it added flavour. So I've bumped 3, it's already doing something now with the yeast. I've bumped 3 kilos of sugar instead of the usual 1. And at the end I'm going to be using the pumpkin spice on the bottom, as this just before the bottling stage, after the fermentation. So hopefully it's going to make a nice pumpkin spiced strong mild. or it's not going to make anything, it's going to be crap. One never knows. Right, I'm going to bottle it up and, not bottle it, take it down the shed rather, put the lid on, take it down the shed and leave it for a week. So dry. Well, at least it's not sweet. Blueberry can be very hard to ferment the sugars out. Very hard. Yeah, I struggled. Harry's doing the blueberry. Harry, Blue Nose Beer Reviews, is doing the blueberry now, and I think he might struggle as well, getting all them sugars to ferment out. He may do all right. That's the same problem I'm having with the Vimto. Not yet anyway. Whether it will. Simply Kits, their yeast can handle high lots of sugar. Yeah, knockout juice. Right, that's it for this homebrew making of video. Increases the ABV. Yeah, a little bit at least. Oh, let me put it back on the shelf. And I forgot to set the hydrometer reading. So, here we go. There we go. That's it. Don't move, phone. So, let me get a cup. I'll get a cup. Give it a good stir and make sure that the sugars are all around. I think pop bottles are the best. I really do. Because with pop bottles, they can expand. You know, they can hold the pressure. Normal bottles, they just blow. So I'm going to grab a cup. There we go. It's got a nice colour to it, hasn't it? Looks like dishwater. So, oh dear, that was a fail. The cup's not big enough, is it? Wazok. Right, let me get rid of the cup. I need one of those things that you can use. We'll use a jug instead. Yeah, that's a better idea. So, grab the phone again. Yeah. Number at some stage. So, can you see it? There we go. So, I'll wait for it to stop. Good evening, Steve. So, it looks like it's on 80. Yeah, that was definitely 80. So, is it 1080? Yeah, so 1080 for the thing. Yeah. So God knows what that's going to turn out like. Yeah, about 1082. Yeah, it's just below the. See, this is new to me because I've never actually used a hydrometer. I couldn't, even though I've got an O level in maths, I could never work out the bloody mathematics behind it. Or I was too lazy. I think the lazy side of it comes in. Yeah, it's definitely settled at 1080, so that'll be interesting to see what it turns out like. Anybody watches this who's got one of them, the online job is? Yeah, maybe, yeah. So obviously, 7.5 if it brews out. Ooh. In a pressure barrel, I've never brewed in a pressure barrel before. In a fermentation bucket, I'll leave up to 2 weeks. Right, that's good for the sugar content. Wow. Right. Well, we'll see how it cooks or brews, shall we say? And that's it for this video. Thank you all. There will be updates, and I'll be chucking the odour after a few days. I'll give it an update and see how it goes. Good evening, Craig. So I'm just a mild with 3 kilos of sugar, simply mild, messy affair, really messy. You only got it down to 1023, right? Yeah, I brew in the fermentation bucket and then I do transfer to a barrel. Yeah, and then I'll transfer it to the barrel, then I'll add the pumpkin spice and then bottle it. You can get 6, well, actually today there was a 14% mild. Good evening. Hello. Right, I've got to run because they want the kitchen, and thank you all for watching, and back with some reviews later. Cheers. Should be nice as well. Nice mild.